Hi, it's North, and I'm doing a video on the CXT build for everybody. And I got something that I'm going to show you all in a little while. Here's a CXT. And when you're doing a toy grade RC and making a hobby, you want to, one of the first things you want to do is strip off everything you don't want. And wheelbase is always really important, because if it doesn't turn out right, it looks kind of stupid. This is a 19-inch wheelbase body, because I've looked it up online 100 times. And as far as making a chassis, I like to use aluminum angle, and I've seen guys, a few guys lately using the channel. Actually, in the group, I've been seeing a lot of channel chassis. I like this because it's easier to work with, it's more simple, and when it's all done, I paint everything all flat black anyway, so you can't see it. It shouldn't really be, I mean, I like to build them so you can't really see the chassis. So, this is probably about the right length for what I want to go with when I do the build. And I'll have to get a second one of these. I usually just cut them with a miter saw, with a cutting blade, with a metal cutting blade, and you can smooth out the edges with a Dremel. It doesn't have to be perfect when I do it, because I paint over everything flat black, like I said, so you can't see it. And when you get this up, I'll take like some aluminum flat to make my cross braces, you know, my cross members like that. If I cut this to length and run the other one, run maybe 2 bolts on the face of that and 2 bolts on the other side, just so it won't move, doesn't have any give. I usually use like 440 hardware. A lot of times when you're taking apart the toy grade stuff, something breaks, like this broke. See, it used to be one piece like this one. That little piece to hold them together. It snapped, but I actually think I'm going to cut it out on both of them, because there's tabs on the back of these where you can bolt right through. I just cut a short length of this, run it from the chassis out, and bolt it to it. It'll look cleaner, I think. Be easier, more solid. Sometimes just for oddball stuff, or for mounting or for spacing out, I use a little channel, or I use this on smaller stuff, like for a chassis. If I am doing something small, like my lunchbox crawler that I keep wanting to do that I don't do. As far as skid plates go, where I work, there's always scrap laying around. One of the things I use at work is Delrin, or whatever it's called. And I got it extra thick, so I can just run it through a table saw to make the thickness I want, if I want to go thinner than this, or if I want to keep it this thick. You know, it's already heavy duty. It's real easy to cut, real easy to shape. Cuts easier than wood does, it cuts faster. Makes a little mess, but it's alright. So what I have so far is I have the body. I'm setting up the chassis. So I gotta get more materials. I usually do a dry run first. I cut everything and fit it all, just sit it all together. This is going to be easy to mount, thanks to Charles Reed, who told me about this with his. I kept this off the toy grade chassis. So that I don't have to space up to it with something else. See, so now when I run the angle, I can just run it, it'll put it right where I want it to be sitting, basically. And the all the stock screw holes will fit. You know, I'll just have to drill holes for the stock mounting spots from when it was a toy grade. And I want to keep the dump bed working, but one of the hinges on the underside is broken. This one is broken. I don't know if you can see it or not. Another thing with this body, all these lights all have holes behind them to run LEDs. every single light, actually. Even these running lights up here in the visor, on the frame. Even in the mirror, if I can get to it. When you get one that's older like this, you'll have stuff that's broken. Like these grab rails are broken. But when it's plastic on plastic, you can just super glue them pretty easy. It's not really a problem. And I just got this in the mail yesterday. It's the Summit transmission that I'm going to use. And what I'm going to do is I'll mount the Summit trans right about here with the motor on it. And I want to run a shaft down to a transfer case, and then that transfer case will go from the front and the rear axles. So it'll be like, you know, I have the 2-speed here to reduce, but I also have the transfer case to reduce. With the Wraith axle I'm going to use. And just a little while ago when I was playing with this, I dropped the screws. I wanted to show you guys. It's always real easy to have something like that around, because when you drop your screws, they don't just fly off, you know. And that's the Cal RC. I'm no better than you, Matt. It's good to have, especially, you know, there's always tons of little screws and tons of stuff that you're dropping. So, also, I want to try to build this chassis so that it can cross over with axial accessories, like the front bumpers, the rear bumpers, the tow hitch, the axial. So I have a whole range of options, like if I want to cut that front bumper off and use something that's more off-road, because it's going to be a crawler. So like I said, you can run LEDs to everything in the body. There's the headlight buckets. You run, there's turn signals. See on the fender here, got a marker. There is a spot there where you could possibly metal tape an LED underneath it or something so it would come through. On the back, same thing. See on the fender here we have those ambers, and you can see on this side where you could probably place an LED behind them and illuminate through. And you can see on the taillight buckets they have spots where you can put a LED in with an O-ring just like in the front. Okay, so I just got this in the mail. Summit 2-speed trans. There's your shift point. Now, the one thing I don't get about this transmission, I've never used a Summit and I don't know anything about them, but if I hold the spur gear and I move the output shaft, look at how much that'll move before it engages. And I don't know if that's normal or not, and I'm sure that some of you out there have this truck and know about this and would be able to tell me whether that's right or not. You can see how much it moves and doesn't engage at all. But I do like the way it mounts. I'll have a nice flat mounting spots on the sides there, and it'll mount facing towards the front of the truck. The motor will be here. I said the shaft will run out to a transfer case, which will then split the power to the front and rear. So I'm telling everybody in the room, I got a surprise for them, big surprise. When I do one of these videos, thanks to Heath at Cal RC, these are going to be featured in each of the videos I do, and then given away that month. So this will be the first one, and you can win the very mat used in this video. We'll come up with a contest, and I'll post details of what's going to be what and how you can win this. Every month I want to keep it fair. I want people that run stock stuff to have as much of a chance as guys that do custom builds and all that other stuff. Sometimes it'll be biased more towards guys that do the builds. Sometimes it'll be biased more towards guys that run stock. Sometimes it won't have anything to do with the RCs at all, just level the playing field. That's how I'm going to go about it. So, This is the custom I'm No Better Than You RC work mat by Cal RC that will be given away to someone after the airing of this video. If I sound like a spaz and I'm all uptight and stuff, it'll get better as I make other videos because I'm just nervous. Thank you.